the combine, they're the people who are saying this. This media stuff, and this is the conversation that I wanted to have. The backdrop is going to be Jameis Winston and a couple of other people, but mainly it's based on what you just said. And it's something that has always bothered me about this particular business that we're in. And I think it was Michael Wilbon that I heard say it this way, that so many times the authors of the story don't look like the characters in the book. And that presents a problem. It presents a problem because, like this morning, I'm looking at Dan Patrick, and he's like, oh man, the kid threw 18 interceptions. Wow, he threw 18 interceptions. And as I was thinking it, one of the dudes on the show said the same thing I was thinking. He said, Matt Ryan threw a bunch of interceptions. He was like, well, but Boston College and Florida State. Like, what the hell does that have to do with it? An interception is an interception.
Right.
How do you make a pass? How do you give Matt Ryan a pass? Because he did throw a bunch of interceptions his last year.
Right, that's right. That was the big knock against him coming into the draft.
And you don't give the Heisman Trophy winner the same pass? Come on, man. Come on.
But see, that's what I'm telling you is that from a statistic standpoint, like I'd have nothing bad to say about Jameis Winston. You know what I'm saying? Like I wouldn't even try to compare him statistically versus Marcus Mariota. I wouldn't even try to do that. You know, but like I said, it's just the other things the other things that they show of him, you know, they just kind of makes everybody kind of go, and you know, around draft time is when is when you hear those kind of things and people kind of get skeptical of you, and you know, we've seen it happen before.
But this is
every year, really.
It's the main reason that we have to get past that. Like if I'm doing this and I'm gonna be able to do this, like there has to be an opposite side of that story. Like and hear me clearly. I'm not calling anybody no kind of racist or any kind of thing like that. But what I believe is people are conditioned and people are programmed to feel a certain way, whether they know it or not. And automatically, what you're going to do automatically, and you even said it, as soon as you hear Jameis Winston, Peyton Manning, people are going to eyebrows are going to automatically raise. Like what? Like why is that not possible? It's the same beef I had when Mike Vick was playing football, and people were like, he can never be Tom Brady or Peyton Manning. Why the hell not? As a matter of fact, he should be better because. Right. At the end of the day, he has God-given things that Peyton and Tom will never have. The difference is they put the time in. They study. They commit themselves to the position. He didn't. That's the difference.
Meanwhile, Vic was throwing DVDs into the trunk.
Right. It's definitely not a talent situation. And then when he started saying it, that's when I was like, all right, I'm out. I'm good. And you've been around me long enough to know. But as soon as that happened, I was out. Like, nope, you can't do that. Like, how do you let someone else tell you or create a narrative for you about how much of your potential you can realize? That's retarded. That's
yeah. And you know what? I mean, and again, you know, and you know me, Mike. You know, the one thing I hate to do, I hate to always to go black white in sports. I mean, I hate to, but I mean, it does exist.
Right, it's a reality.
You know, certain situations, I mean, including the business that we're in. But, you know, there are, you know, most of the time, you know, when you have a black quarterback coming in, because, you know, every other year, you have a black quarterback coming in. And, you know, for some reason or another, I mean, you know, you always get that. This player is good, but they'll never be this. You know, I mean, you hear that about everybody. I mean, and then when they do say like Jameis Winston has the football IQ of a Peyton Manning, then you kind of like, nah, man, ain't no way. And I'm just being honest, just as a black dude. Like when you hear that, you go, there ain't no way in here. You know, there's just no way. Because I know folks from Alabama, so I'm playing when I say that. But you know, I mean, you just kind of, as you say, get conditioned, you know, to automatically assuming one thing or another, and I'm guilty of it.
Well, I'm here to uncondition people. With every breath that I speak through this microphone, for as long as I do it, I'm here to uncondition people. Like judge people based on what they are, who they are. You know, again, This kid has been playing football as long as Peyton Manning had at this point in his life. He talked about it the other day. His dad coached him the same way Peyton's dad was his coach and his mentor and all that kind of stuff. So why not? Why with all the football this kid has played since he was 7, 8 years old and playing the same position, is it that unlikely that he would have accumulated the same amount of knowledge to this point? Like he didn't go to Oregon or Baylor. He went to Florida State. But they have a fullback, they have a running back, they have a tight end, and 2 wide receivers. They call that an NFL offense. A pro set is what they call it.
Right.
So why not? As a redshirt freshman, he was the best player in the land running that same offense. Like, come on, like you got to help me out. Like people got to think deeper than all this crap that ESPN pumps into your brain. Because again, the authors of these stories don't look like the characters in them 90% of the time. For example, I'm gonna give you another example. Me and my man John Chuckery got into it a little bit on Twitter about this a couple weeks ago about Josh Gordon, the kid from Cleveland, the wide receiver from the Browns, right? So then this week, Josh Hamilton comes out, said he done fell off the wagon. Cocaine and alcohol. Now everybody want to feel so. Oh, he doesn't need suspension. He needs rehab. Wait, hold up, player. Hold on. Because the same thing happened with Johnny Manziel. Man, we're so proud of Johnny for stepping up and taking himself to rehab. Hold on. Where was all that? Like, ain't nobody had no sympathy for the young black kid who, by the way, what we talking about, we're not talking about cocaine. Anybody remember that picture of Johnny Manziel in the bathroom with the rolled up dollar bills? Mm-hmm. Okay, we're not talking about cocaine. We're talking about a dude that likes to smoke weed. And then he had a drink. He had a drink on the airplane, and they tested him. Now he's suspended for a year. Like, this whole NFL thing is so antiquated, it's not even funny. This. Do you realize, Rob? And this is factual. And it's gonna blow your mind that the NFL weed policy is stricter than an Olympic athlete. Basically, an Olympic athlete can have more weed in his system than an NFL player. That's one. Mm-hmm. Here's number 2.
Right.
A fighter pilot, cuz. A fighter pilot can have more weed in his system than a dude who run routes for a living. So all these people who are all high and mighty about, oh, well, he broke the rules. The rules are antiquated, cuz. They're outdated.
Yeah. I mean, I have to agree with you. I mean, because just think what we learned not too long ago about, the cocaine and use in the PGA weed. I mean, like, weed is legal in PGA.
Well,
meth is damn near legal in NASCAR. You just can't be under the influence of meth while you're driving.
Well, and here's the thing: when it comes to all that stuff, what the NFL is going to end up finding out very, very soon, because one of our good buddies, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, the research shows that marijuana it aids in head injuries. The same chemical that your brain secretes when you have a head injury, it gets kind of thwarted by the THC in the marijuana. So with the NFL and their whole head injury problems that they're having, they're gonna find out pretty soon that science is gonna back up all these guys who are self-medicating. Like some dudes are just weed heads. They just like to smoke weed, but some dudes are self-medicating. Free Ricky. You remember that? Remember how everybody was like, "Oh, Ricky, how could you do that? You're so stupid." Well, some dudes are just self-medicating, man, because they don't want to get hooked on oxycodone and oxycontin and Vicodins and all that kind of stuff.
You know who the first person I heard actually admit to this was? Moose Johnson. When he played, like he was it Moose or was it I think it was Moose Johnson that I heard say that one of them Cowboys that they were using marijuana to relieve the pain. Mm-hmm. That they were having come Monday morning, or the nausea from the concussions or anything. That's why they were smoking. That's
another effect. The anti-inflammatory agents in marijuana does help with pain. Like, the NFL is gonna find out real soon how ultimately wrong.
I told you, Mama.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bad look. So while everybody's like, "Oh, this kid's so stupid, he's getting suspended," meanwhile, Johnny Manziel's in rehab for coke. And then you got Josh Hamilton out there rehab. Like, I don't feel sorry because I said it yesterday on the podcast. When rich people have regular people problems, count me out, homeboy. I'm good. Deal with it, man. You got millions of dollars. Deal with it. Find you a way to deal with it, because guess what? There are people who don't have the resources that can't deal with it.
Right.
And ain't looking for no pity. So ain't nobody, Josh Hamilton, he's such a this, and he was the MVP, and so what, man? So what? I feel the same way about A-Rod. Like, why do people hate A-Rod so much? Like, why is that a thing? You gotta hate A-Rod. Because he lied? Because no one in America lies? Right. Is that what happens?
Right.
You know, he got caught with his hand in the cookie jar, and instead of saying, yeah, I did it, he was like, nope, I didn't. Screw all of you guys, I did. And when you look at A-Rod, no one can understand the things that he deals with. And this isn't me throwing a pity party for this guy. But how many of us have ever been the savior of anything? Because that's who he was supposed to be. He was the guy who was going to break all these records, and he was going to do it clean. He was the natural. He was a big kid coming out of high school. All these great things. But what A-Rod figured out was Father Time is undefeated. And as I get older, I'm not going to get better. But these expectations are going to still be on me. Like, fans don't lower their expectation based on your age or based on where you're at. If they already had high ones, people are already projected. Well, A-Rod's going to have to hit this many home runs in this many years to catch Hank Aaron, and then he'll have to hit this many to catch Barry Bonds. It was already being said like 5-6 years out. So if you're that dude, you're probably looking for some sort of advantage to keep up pace.
Do you remember? But do you remember, like, when A-Rod was A-Rod, when he played for Seattle? Like, that dude was phenomenal.
Right.
That dude, he was phenomenal.
But again, you set the bar. The bar has been set. And once the bar is set, because very few times do we see the Alex Rodriguez of the world, the Ken Griffey's, the LeBron James, the guys who come in with all the hype, and then they live up to it. Like, very, very, very few times do we see that. So when we do, we latch on and we start projecting, and we want further greatness from them. And with a guy like that, I mean, I don't know if you can justify it, but you can definitely understand how that can be. How a guy like that can get wrapped up in, steroids and using performance enhancers and all that kind of stuff. Because there are expectations, and once the expectations are placed on you, you begin to have them for yourself.
Well, Mike, you know yourself that during that whole steroid era of baseball, that was some of the most exciting times in baseball. If you were a fan of the long ball, if you were an offensive fan, because I know, people like you say the game's too slow, but it gave everybody a reason. And when Barry Bonds was on that chase for Roger Maris's record, and then as he was chasing down Hank Aaron, you remember they were just breaking or whatever was going on anytime he would get the bat. Mm-hmm. And the thing about it is that if the steroid era had never ended, and Barry Bonds had went on and retired at some point, I think A-Rod would have caught up with him. Like, we would have seen, those numbers from when A-Rod was, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old. We would have seen those numbers again. Well, 40, 50 home runs.
But everyone's got it started getting ridiculous. Like, when dudes' hat sizes and shoe sizes start changing, it's like, now, hold on now. We get into some other stuff now. It's getting totally ridiculous, and that's what was happening with Barry Bonds.
He becoming mutated,
right?
Yeah, he became a mutant.
So, and the whole thing about the game being slow, to me, it's not that the game is necessarily slow. I just think people want it to be boring. Like these ultra. I heard somebody on the Sports Reporters this weekend talking about real baseball fans and like, what the hell does that even mean? Like, if I'm watching the game and enjoying, I'm just as much a fan as anybody else. Why? Because I don't have a scorecard in front of me, and I'm not sitting on every pitch and talking through every pitch. That makes no difference to me. What baseball needs is an event. Just like every other sport. Basketball is an event. Football is an event. All this stuff with Yasiel, like how they're like putting this muzzle on Yasiel Puig. Like, he can't be a showman and all that kind of stuff. You know what? Miss me with all that, because your fans are dying. These young kids aren't paying attention to baseball. What they're paying attention to is sports like soccer. These millennials,